The word hell in the Bible. Many people do not realize that there are actually 4 different original words which are translated hell in the Bible. The confusing part is that the 4 original words do not all have the same meaning. If one attempts to combine the meanings of all 4 words into one composite concept, he not only emerges with a very confusing picture of the fate of the wicked, but he also does injustice to the Bible's intent. The word hell is used 54 times in the Bible, 31 times in the Old Testament and 23 times in the New Testament. Every time you see the word hell in the Old Testament, you can know that the Hebrew word used there is Sheol, which means the grave. See Jonah 2:2, which says, "And said, I cried by reason of mine affliction unto the Lord, and he heard me. Out of the belly of hell cried I, and thou heardest my voice." In half of the instances in which Sheol is used, the translators rendered it hell. In the other half, they used the word grave. But nowhere in Scripture does Sheol denote a place of torment in which bodiless beings suffer. The Bible makes it clear that all people, both righteous and wicked, go to Sheol when they die. The patriarch David said he would go to Sheol when he died, and his son Joseph would go to Sheol also in Genesis 37:35, which says, "And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted, and he said, For I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him." Righteous Job used the word Sheol when speaking of his own resting place in Job 17:13. "If I wait, the grave is mine house. I have made my bed in the darkness." There, everyone unconsciously awaits the resurrection. The New Testament contains 3 Greek words which are translated hell, and they each mean something different. 10 of the 23 New Testament references are translated from the word Hades, which is simply the Greek equivalent of Sheol and means the grave. See the verses on the screen and pause if you need to read them. Hades is not associated with conscious torment anywhere in the Bible except in a parable found in Luke 16:23, and this will be a separate discussion later on. In 12 instances, the Greek word Gehenna is translated as hell. Again, see the verses on the screen and pause if you need to read them. Gehenna, or Valley of Hinnom, is mentioned repeatedly in the Old Testament. See the verses on screen and again pause if you need to. It is a gorge near Jerusalem in which idolatrous kings burned their children as a sacrifice to the heathen god Moloch. And see 2 Chronicles 28:3 and 33 verses 1 and 6 on the screen. Because of this abomination, the Lord declared that he would make it a valley of slaughter for his rebellious people, where the fowls of heaven would eat the corpses which could not be buried for lack of room. And see Jeremiah 7 verses 32 and 33 and Jeremiah 19 verses 6 and 7 on the screen. The same valley was later used as a refuse dump where animal carcasses and rubbish were continually burned. Such places are generally infested with maggots, which help decompose the refuse. If you see Mark 9:44, it says, "Where their worm dieth not and the fire is not quenched." Thus, Gehenna became associated in Jewish thought with the place of final punishment. Therefore, Jesus used it as an illustration of the fire which will burn the wicked in the final day of judgment. But nowhere does the Bible say that the sinner is cast into Gehenna at the moment of death. The Bible clearly states that the fire which burns the wicked will not touch them until the final day of judgment. The word hell is used in only one other place in Scripture, in 2 Peter 2:4, where it says, "For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness to be reserved unto judgment." Here, the Greek word tartaros is used, which means the deepest abyss. Peter used this term when speaking of the banishment of the rebellious angels from heaven. Now, to summarize, of the 4 words translated as hell, we have seen that the Bible distinguishes 3 separate concepts. Number 1, Sheol or Hades, which just means the grave, where all people go at death to unconsciously await either the resurrection of life or the resurrection of damnation. Number 2, Gehenna, a place of burning, used as an illustration of the fire which will one day destroy the earth and totally consume the wicked. And finally, number 3, Tartaros, used only one time in Scripture, but never in reference to the destiny of man. This has been part 5 of our 7-part series on hell. I hope and pray that you were blessed by everything you heard here today, and I also hope and pray that you'll stick around for the rest of the series. God bless.